Oh, in pro play.
Actually, I don't know if he said pro play. He just said in general.
Right, that's why I would want to make that distinction, because because Freak will fight you on the semantics of
He
that.
literally just said Nocturne is the strongest champion in the game right now. That's all he said to me.
I think if you include solo queue.
I was gonna say,
at least he can move the goalpost
it might be true because he's got like a 60% win rate or something with Stridebreaker. I mean, it's nutty. But when it comes to pro play, I wouldn't necessarily think that he's the absolute strongest champion in the game. That said, as you took us on a tangent away from champions like Nocturne will not be played in this game high, let's talk about what will get played. That's Lee Sin on the side of TSM. It's Diana and Varus picked up for CLG.
I'm excited to see Broxah break out the Diana because we've been talking about it for a while. It feels like Broxah is the best performing player on CLG right now. I don't think he's got a Diana game in because they were on that little Vi kick for a little bit, but I want to see him on this champion because it does have such carry potential. We've seen Closer absolutely pop off, Akadi and a couple other people, and so Broxah being one of the best for them, it speaks well for me to see him on what is probably the best carry jungle right now.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see TSM draft Rumble here. Since the W nerfs, Rumble's jungle clear isn't as quick as it used to be. But the nice thing about Rumble is that they can just, yeah, they could still play that top.
I think they'll flex it around.
Yeah, they could still play that top because Huni is so good on the champion.
That was what my thought was. And then, yeah, Renekton. I mean, all three of these champions, right, could go into any of those, those positions, top, mid, or jungle.
Renekton jungle, maybe a little less.
I don't know about that one, yeah.
Can I introduce you to an old series of mine called Will It Jungle, Mark?
No, you cannot.
I actually have a question here for you guys. Do you think it's a strong drafting pattern to choose your top entire half the map, or the first three? I keep seeing teams do that on blue side where they draft their top, jungle, and mid, and that kind of removes the power of flex picks in my opinion. A lot of teams keep doing that. Back in the day, we would never do that. Usually you want to keep your flex picks a flex, but the fact that you show all three lanes or all three positions right away, I don't know how I feel about that personally.
Can I clarify though? Do you, yes, all three are taken, but do you not consider them still flexes in some regard? Like you don't necessarily know who's going where.
Assuming assuming Renekton and Lee Sin are the flex, right? And Rumble's the jungler, that's 80 in both lanes, right? I would assume Rumble's probably jungle or top. I guess Lee Sin could jungle, so that would be the flex in my opinion, those two. But I think it's kind of clear cut what is gonna be, especially for the pro players, because they know more than I do. They've been playing scrims, they'll know what teams are playing and what role. So that, in my opinion, they're showing it. I don't know if I like that.
My 2 cents on it is that most of the power picks right now are largely solo laners, and if you're going to take something that it's a bot lane or a support in your 1, 2, 3 position, you're basically giving more options to the other team. And so I understand that from a takeaway perspective, especially in drafts like this where you ban the Kalista and the Thresh, which are probably the two most prevalent because Thresh also enables Aphelios, who's probably the other one up there. So Varus being taken away, that is actually a little bit surprised me that you also give up some of the Renekton and the other stuff that you might see taken in solo lanes. I do like when the whole top side's taken just in this meta. I agree, it's weird to normally show that much of your flex picks, though.
Yeah, I mostly agree with Mark. I think in this particular case, though, because Rumble is not a super high priority pick, like I think they could have easily have foregone the Rumble and picked something that was maybe a shared pick. Like, for instance, Nautilus just got banned as the last ban by CLG, and that's a shared pick between the two teams. And I'm pretty sure Rumble would have easily slipped to the last pick phase. So in general, when it's stuff like Lee Sin, Renekton, Viego, where they're more high priority champs, I actually like the flexibility and I like the prioritization. But in this particular draft with Rumble priority, I don't like it as much.
Is this a Xayah Rakan angle for you guys for the TSM bot lane? Because they have triple dive right now. They need follow-up on that. Do you think it's like a Kaisa or Rakan?
You don't think he'll play Triss?
Kaisa, I think is more likely.
Because she's the one that can press R to follow up. But now they need some kind of hard CC that engages from long. But Leona's taken and Nautilus is banned. They're not left with very many options. Did they lock an Alistar?
It's still being covered. Ooh, the SwordArt specialty, baby.
Yo, that lane has to suck versus Varus, Leona.
What? Yeah, maybe.
Like, 2v2 is what I'm talking about.
Right.
Like, it might be fine outside lane, obviously, because like Panther can ulti out other places, but I gotta say that lane has to suck. Okay, yeah, they didn't pick it.
Alistar's more likely.
Yeah.
Well, so Kaisa, Alistar, I mean, it's just... The TSM bot lane in general, interesting because of the way they performed last week, right? Picking up solo kill or 2v2 kills throughout their laning phases last week. I wonder if TSM is going to look to index more into early game strength for them in the future.
Yeah, I am a little surprised to see it go into a more passive lane, all things considered, given that their time with the Kalista in 2 of the games was actually pretty decent. And in the Immortals game, they got multiple solo kills off. So I liked what I saw of their bot lane.
Mundo rounded out, by the way.
Woo!
Ooh. Interesting.
Big tank boy.
Yeah, I think the takeaway is good, and it provides a lot of the front line that CLG needs versus all this dive. But overall, let's just look at the comps overall.
Yeah.
I actually really like TSM's comp here versus the double AD.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, there's so much ability to dive the Varus in particular. It's really hard for him to stay safe if he's just running Duskblade here. So I personally think that this is a little bit different from what I typically expect from TSM, but if they're looking to get more aggressive looks, I think this is a good comp for them to try it out on.
I like CLG's comp for 2 reasons. One, I believe they have triple winning lanes. I don't actually know if the new Dr. Mundo beats Renekton. I think he does, but I'm
Azael's
not
on that
positive
train.
Right? I think he does. So they have triple winning lane with a winning early game jungler. Not only that, I like their team fighting better because TSM doesn't have good enough engage and lockdown to actually lock down Lucian and Varus.
Well, you mentioned Azael might be on that train. I got good news for you, Mark.
He's on the
Azael's
call.
on the cast today, damn right, alongside PastryTime. And as champs have been locked in, let's toss it out to the guys for the call. Enjoy.
Thank you very much. Welcome back to the LCS server. It is great to be here. Boy, oh boy, Azael. I feel like week on week there's just something new happening, and even though that may not be true for this particular game, the LCS certainly has seen yet another round of changes.
Absolutely, we've been getting all kinds of different changes. It's honestly been so fun, I think. It's been keeping it really fresh, seeing all these different mix-ups from the teams as far as the meta goes, as far as the champions go as well. We are seeing a lot of flexibility. And Mundo, you know, right off the bat, the guys were talking about on the desk, wondering if this was a good matchup into Renekton. I am of the opinion that it is a very good matchup into Renekton. It's not necessarily that you're just going to absolutely blast him in lane, but you do outscale him very heavily. And because you have the ability to, you know, with your passive, actually immune the Renekton stun against champions like Renekton, against champions like Shen, champions that are very reliant on that one big stun for their combo, that gets negated almost completely. So unless Huni can consistently get up on this Mundo and find those stuns and find those trades, the passive is going to be ready pretty much every time you go in, and then it becomes a heavily winning trade for Mundo in a matchup where he outscales you very, very hard. So I think Mundo here is great. I also think when you're playing against, you know, these 4 melee style comps that want to try to push past onto your backline, Mundo can do a lot against that. You know, it's very difficult to actually burst him down, to focus him. But if you try to run past him onto the double marksman, he actually has a fairly high amount of damage, especially with some of the more aggressive builds that you can go. I'm not sure if Finn will go for it, but things like Titanic can actually be great in those situations to really punish people who are trying to fight past you. So I'm excited to see how Finn plays it and how it works out for CLG.
Yeah, again, for all the differences that the LCS is having, for all the changes, both across the Rift and beyond across the teams, TSM vs CLG is still a matchup we're always happy to have, even though it has been kind of an up and down season for both, certainly more for CLG than TSM, but Spica back on the Rumble jungle, haven't seen it as often, certainly, as we did in recent times. This is definitely more of the new AP jungle flavor on the CLG side, as Broxah is going to be piloting Diana. Looks like he's full clearing that red side, going down to the bottom half, and Spica's doing the same, but going the other way.
For these full clears, the early trades, Finn's just going to be looking for a lot of grass procs here. And I mean, anytime you can actually hit a Q, it's going to be pretty nice. You can poke through the waves with your E. That's really the biggest change, honestly, from old Mundo to this one, is that you can poke people both inside and outside the wave. You know, previously, it's a lot more difficult for Mundo when people are just sitting directly in that wave. Now, if they stand in the middle of the minions, you hit them with the E. When they try to dodge out, you hit them with the Q. And you have a really easy time even farming in disadvantageous matchups because the cleaver is low cooldown. You can farm from range pretty safely, pretty easily.
I think it's the other thing that, even though this is a comp we have seen from lots of different teams, this has not been the style that TSM have been playing, you know, all that recently. Definitely more mages have been mixed in, especially for someone like PowerOfEvil. We're now up against POB's Lucian, which is, of course, the free preview matchup you can check out. Lee Sin still very good, even though there were some changes, but not a champion we would associate with PoE instantly.
No, not at all. But, I mean, they are trying to work in more of this. We saw Viego come out last week. They did a Viego 4 melee dive comp earlier in this split. We saw them running Nocturne Rumble, pre-Rumble nerfs as well. So they are trying to look and get more comfortable running these aggressive looks. They have not done that much of it. Still the most played, you know, all time, disregarding Caston for PoE, is 3 games, and that's on Talon, so for a melee champion, which is obviously not a lot. As far as the Lee Sin versus Lucian, this was already a fairly disadvantageous matchup for the Lee Sin even pre the nerfs. Now the E wave clear has been nerfed at higher ranks. That E does less damage, so you're pushing out the wave more slowly. But you want to see this Lucian really bullying because especially post 6, that is where it can get more dangerous, where gank assists can be coming in. You know, when you have the ability to threaten 100-0, that is how you're really pushing back that Lucian, who's going to want to be chipping away at you as fast as possible. And you can see, as is becoming really popular, just a lot of longsword starts across the board. You know, for all 3 marksmen in this game, they're all starting longsword. It gives you the ability to have the additional regen in lane with the extra potions. It gets you towards your mythic completion a lot faster. And people are just feeling like they don't necessarily need the Dorans anymore, and this is getting you to your power spikes more quickly, and the added regen is very valuable. So there is a bit of a trade-off, as obviously, you know, over time, Dorans is really efficient, and the lifesteal is going to, you know, make up for some of the lost potions that you will have. But it's a strong build.
Certainly is. As Pobelter feeling pretty happy, 10 CS up over PowerOfEvil. Same story actually for Huni almost, as Finn is playing catch-up, but Spica was there just a moment ago. We also saw Broxah on that top side, was spotted by a nicely placed ward as the passive drops off, and Huni gonna go ahead and squash that blob.
Gonna be able to knock that away, and if you do pick it up as Mundo, gives you a little bit of health back. Pretty nice, but not the end of the world, and we'll see. Smoothie was staying around here. He wanted to try to freeze this, and Pobelter is coming down, but he's taking a lot of damage. We'll see if they can go in.
Power hit by SwordArt now, gonna get the pulverize, but only onto one. SwordArt ignited and killed its first blood to WildTurtle.
Nice roam there from Pobelter, and TSM must have thought that Pobelter was just on a reset. We saw Smoothie staying around. It looked like it was getting a bit risky as there was that fat wave. There's no way he was really going to be able to freeze it in their face, but Pobelter arrives. They get the kill. It also goes on to Turtle, which is really, really nice there. We can see this one more time. Varus on a reset, so they want to go aggressive. They want to push this in, just thinking they are going for the reset. There was no vision throughout the river except that ward up towards mid lane, so my guess is they just thought Pobelter was on a reset. Didn't expect him to be there.
Top side problems here for Finn. Perhaps there. Huni pop dominance. Got a solo kill. Gets it there. Flashes after him. And Finn goes down.
Nicely done. Huni finding the 1v1 kill there. Finn even had the passive for the stun. You saw the little bottle pop out, but you could not be that far up. Like, if we watch this again, that wave was huge, and he hit 6 first. That is the best chance that Renekton has to really punish you there. Not only do you not have the ultimate to actually run away, you have no ability to stand and fight into the ultimate. The minions are going to add in a tremendous amount of extra damage as well. So Finn getting a little bit too far forward there. That early death will cost him, because that means this added gold is going to result in not only the Iron Spike Whip, but there's an Executioner's on top, which is extremely effective against Mundo. And Huni will have the opportunity to try to snowball this lane, to try to have his damage at a point where Finn can just not withstand.
Yeah, and Finn, you know, has equalized the waves now pretty much. Oh, yes, let's watch this again from Huni's perspective.
So this is one of these situations where he's killed a full extra wave. If you look at the experience here, you've got to really track XP. And so if Finn knows that Huni has gotten additional experience, that he's the one pushing, he's got to know he's close to 6. So there comes the passive. Finn actually also makes the mistake of trying to move forward to pick up his passive, even though he was getting all in with the level 6. So I do think this is a misplay. If Finn just immediately flashes backwards, maybe he survives. But even though we're watching from Huni's point of view, as a pro player, you have got to be aware of the experience. You've got to be aware of the fact that, okay, I am, you know, say half a wave away. He has killed half a wave more. He's about to hit 6. I've got to back off. I've got to play it safe. Yes, it's more difficult to track than like the level 2 power spike that literally everyone talks about. But this is something you need to be aware of, and that's one of the few opportunities that Huni could have to really punish the Mundo in this lane, and he made it happen. Great job.
So now a brutal buy here. As you mentioned, the whip plus the executioners, calling Huni, building a CS lead as well. Finn is trying to keep the wave in a more sensible spot, but he's going to have to play catch up here in the 1 versus 1. Also of note, Finn used his teleport to get straight back to lane because, hey, he needs to get back and not lose even more. But Huni was able to keep his, so can either use that for a cross-map play or can just use it to reset the wave when he's in a good spot.
Yep, absolutely. It does mean that this can leak over onto the bottom side, right? You have Varus who wants to be pushing, who wants to be playing aggressive. It is this poke style. He got the first blood. But guess what? You don't actually get to push now when you are playing this Varus Leona lane because you could get TP'd on by the Renekton. And that, I think, is actually what is prompting this lane swap. You can see them moving out of base, heading towards top. They're actually sending the Mundo towards bot because they don't want the ability for an extra member to show up. So you have your bottom lane actually match the player with TP and try to keep things a bit more even in that regard. Of course, PoE also has TP advantage. So really, CLG's got to play safe.
Smoothie trying to make it happening. Not out. Varus ulti there, flashed in by WildTurtle, and Huni going to be left out to be skinned. Perhaps here, there indeed will be the kill for Turtle, the second on the board for him.
That's a really nice move there from CLG. They reveal the bot lane on the top side. They hard commit to that. They get the kill. It does cost them double flashes. They've got to be somewhat safe still. Because Huni's up in 10, has TP available, PowerOfEvil is here, Spica is here. They don't see anyone bot, so you've got to know TSM is moving up here. No one's matching Finn, so CLG needs to play with respect to this.
Spica also got the heat charge really far forward there, has ulti ready as well, so have to be careful. That choke CLG in here is a little spooky. There's the equalizer, and now SwordArt can look to go in, finds one with the pulverize. It's Smoothie, gonna be the target. Huni TP'd in to maybe look for a second, is lost. Will take down the enemy support. Now onto Broxah they go. Diana tries to pop the ulti and live, but Lost gets the second kill, and TSM with a great response.
Man, I've got to say, I'm actually so incredibly disappointed with how CLG played that. Like, this is so obvious. This is basics. We talked about the lane swap, about tracking teleports. This is a play you should see a mile away. Finn is bot. No one is there. Everyone from TSM is moving up to the top side. You are going to have a numbers disadvantage. Yes, you got the kill on Huni, but he has teleport. They're going to have the 5v4. And not only does CLG stick around, they end up giving over 2 kills. They're going to lose the Herald. They fought it in this area where it's this kind of constricted corridor that Rumble's going to roast them up. And this, to me, is basics, and CLG just kind of failed at their game sense, failed at the check here. Smoothie going to go down because he used his flash to get the kill. Broxah getting chased down as well, commits the ultimate, so not only does he die, there's no ability for him to get out on the map and make a play immediately after, and that is a really costly mistake from CLG, who, despite that, is actually even on gold and would have been in a fantastic position without that error. You just let Finn push, take plate spot for free, you give up the Herald top, take your kill on Renekton, and you're laughing.
Well, instead, now it's gold even. TSM got their plates on the top side off the back of that play, and they still have the Herald to try and cash in for a couple more as well.
Anathema's Chains as the rush here from Finn. So I've more commonly seen this come in as second, sometimes even third item. Now, this is going to be great in the 1v1. It is obviously not nearly as powerful as a mythic for the team fighting. You're just reducing the one person's damage. But if you're expecting to just match Huni in the side lane, you just link with him. It is a great response to that 1v1. It takes a minute to charge up, but then they're dealing 30% less damage to you. They have reduced tenacity. Makes it incredibly hard for the Renekton to bully that 1v1, so I do think it is smart from that point of view. If TSM draws him into a 5v5, though, this build path is going to be much less effective than had he rushed, a Sunfire Cave.
Right. Finn, though, feeling okay given how things started. At least has found some time alone in the bot wave to catch up on CS. Turtle also looking for some plate farming here in top lane, but TSM responding. CLG actually with 3 here. So 3 versus 2 as a potential dive here.
Yeah, looking to threaten it at the very least. Finn gonna have to get out of there. Will be a trade of ultimates, but again, that's a situation where maybe old Mundo dies, or at least is in a lot of danger when the stun comes through, but he immunes that pretty much every single time. TSM, though, they know 3 members from CLG are top, so they're gonna go bot. They're gonna use the Herald that they took off of CLG's mistake. And this is going to be a full tower. Going down here, CLG will not be able to match the pace of this, as the gold's going to get dumped into the pockets here of TSM's top side. CLG eventually should be able to respond on that top side, but it's going to be a lot more slow.
Yeah, it costs a lot of extra time out of Smoothie as well, who's basically just camping in the TSM side of the jungle to make sure this tower can go down. So the eventual trade, once again, is about even in gold, but TSM are kind of first to finish off those next few objectives. They are going to push through, but I think just the wave here, I don't think CLG are interested in extending this siege any longer, so Lost will go ahead and scoop this up, and again, things will be about even, all things considered, as gold drinkers are done on the TSM side there. Both one for Huni and one for PoE.
Mythics coming through. We can see it's more of the old school build here from Lost. A lot of people these days just ref Mythics, but he is going for Serrated Dirk, and it will be the TPs coming through as fight maybe breaking out.
Flash on Smoothie. Aftershock proc though, 2 TPs from CLG. TSM want to leave. Now SwordArt in trouble. Does pop the ulti, but the follow-up's not really there. Now the ulti wears off and it's much easier as Pobelter's going to get one.
Nicely played. Just waiting out that ulti. They had the chains on him. Varus Q comes through. WildTurtle is really strong. Pobelter quite strong at this point as well. Both those guys are up in farm. They have some kills under their belt here. So they are going to be difficult to deal with. And despite the earlier mistake, CLG in a pretty good spot. Up a good 800 or so gold. The question is going to be, how are they going to be able to team fight here? Huni's just moving around the map, trying to pressure, trying to find ways that he can make use of his priority. You know, yes, Finn is getting harder and harder to kill, hasn't actually died since the earlier misstep, but you know, he is still going to be sitting under his tower for the most part.
All right, well, Dragon up in 230. TSM and CLG have split the first two. So we'll see kind of how things work out as PowerOfEvil will be spotted finishing off those Raptors. Rocket Belt now done for Broxah as well. And we have Riftmaker on the way for Spica, not quite there just yet. Does have that leeching leader in inventory. And as you mentioned, Lost is taking kind of a more classical detour here on the Kaisa, but shouldn't be too far away from the Mythic. So I imagine in 2 minutes' time, when this next Dragon fight is up and available, everyone will be kind of ready to fight here. And perhaps that'll be the first indication of, you know, which team is going to pull ahead in this game. Because despite, again, some obvious mistakes from CLG,
Yep.
they are at least keeping the gold nice and respectable, which you do need to do. Again, you're picking, you know, a lot of winning lanes. You're picking to try and get advantages, especially in your bot lane and your mid lane. So you do need to be kind of riding that early game as long as you can.
Totally. I mean, double marksman against tanks is always, you know, kind of scary when you are dealing with some of these beefy frontliners, you know, like the Alistar, who's going to be pretty threatening. They have some very good all-in over on that TSM side, but at the same time, you know, CLG can play with a little bit of pace here. They have some pretty powerful team fighting themselves. I mean, Mundo's going to scale really well. The Poke Varus can be very annoying for some of these TSM champions, and they have, you know, sustained damage obviously coming through from the Lucian. They have good engage with the Leona plus the Diana, so CLG, I think, is in a good spot and would like to be more ahead, obviously, given the situations that they found themselves in, but are doing a good job here. I mean, we're 15 minutes in. They're up on TSM, who has absolutely been one of our best teams this split. It's pretty much them and 100 Thieves at the top of the table everyone is talking about.
Yep. Ooh, PowerOfEvil and Finn doing battle. I don't think PoE wants to fight. Looks pretty spooky there. SwordArt now they're going to try and blow up Broxah. Lost getting in there. Pops the ulti, but doesn't get the kill. And now TSM are moving back in. Huni, though, commits to TP. Finn doesn't have his for what it's worth, but still 40 seconds to roam down to the Dragon, but TSM are going to get in the area first.
Yeah, that was not only the TP, but the ulti from Renekton. So pretty big tool there. Used and will be on cooldown for this fight. It may prompt CLG to look for it, but I mean, they are missing Broxah's ult as well, so pretty important ones on both sides. It's only one Dragon apiece, so if CLG doesn't feel like they have good positioning on it, it's not a big concern to give it up. It's also Cloud Soul, which the reality is pro teams just deprioritize this compared to the other Dragons. It can be really strong for a number of the champions this game, but I think CLG may be better served giving it up. It does look like they want to force, though.
Cloud Soul Mundo sounds like a great time for the Mundo
really
player.
Good. And for Renekton, too, right? Like,
right.
Both these champions, it's actually incredible on the top laners.
All right, well, actually, teams are going to fight for it here, so PowerOfEvil going to find a tag onto POB. TSM have started the Dragon. Now CLG are going to try and find a way in, but the Dragon's a little too low. Looks for the steal. WildTurtle able to find it. Equalizer, though, very nicely placed. And now Huni going in there. Smoothie looking for the ulti. PowerOfEvil finds the kick, but POB finishes him off, and Huni is going to get cleaned up as well. Finn now going wherever he wants to go, as Spica will be tagged by a Bonesaw on the end of the play. TSM will get away, but they lose two and still don't get the Dragon.
Yeah, after that gets stolen away, it just felt like TSM decided they needed to get something. They kind of tried to hard force there, but you're going in onto the Leona, and your Renekton does not have his ultimate, so he is really not that tanky at this point. PowerOfEvil diving into the backline as well, but there's more than enough CC, so CLG lock him down. They get the Dragon, they get the kills, and they're sitting in a great spot at this point of the game now. You know, now the gold lead has extended. It's up to about 2,000. And TSM are going to be feeling the pressure a little bit here, because this is, you know, you pointed out when we were coming into the start of the game, this is not their kind of more usual style. It's not PoE on a control mage where you're just saying, all right, well, he's got us in the late game. You know, he's on the Azir or the Victor or the Orianna or whatever. That is not what he is playing right now. He's playing the Lee Sin. It's much more about playmaking. It's much more about the early and the mid game and snowballing your advantages. They have not really been able to do that, so he's going to have to be that X factor now and really show us some Lee Sin mechanics to kind of make anything happen.
Yeah, I mean, that is, in a lot of ways, the late game for Lee Sin, right? It's about finding angles for team fights.
How
It's
good are
about
your
getting
hands?
good ticks, right? People's hands pretty good, but depending on the class of champions you're talking about, maybe better on one than the other. Also, is that the sweeper sound? I think it is.
It does sound like
It's
a
been spinning
sweeper.
around.
I didn't
There's a little
acknowledge it
disco in
because
the
I
red.
wasn't sure if anyone could hear it, or it's just us.
All right. What's going now? Oh, maybe not.
We're back.
It definitely is that sound, by the way.
Yeah, it was.
SwordArt spinning around. This is going back to base. All right. Let's watch this one again. The dragon fight here is TSM. How did this even get stolen?
Varus Q. Yep.
Oh, very nice.
Early smite was down to about 117, I think I saw. And they decide, you know what, let's fight. But at this situation, you're flying into the backline, PowerOfEvil just gets stunned up. It's very difficult against champions that have point and click CC, such as Leona, to make those plays oftentimes. Huni was flying in as well, but as I called out prior to the play, when he TP'd in, he committed the ultimate. He thought a fight was breaking out there. The fact that you're missing that ultimate, you're much easier to burst down. You're missing all of the bonus health from that. And WildTurtle almost has that Muramana complete. They're moving up towards the Rift Herald, trying to grab another objective for themselves, and CLG just sitting in a great spot. I mean, they have full vision control in this area, multiple pink wards committed, and if you try to check in, you're going to be getting poked out by that Varus when you do it. So we'll have to be given up here by TSM. We're going to see how well they can execute on this style of comp, because they have had some good games, namely with that Viego last week was a really good one. But I do think there's still a lot of questions, and people kind of remain unconvinced by them playing this 4 melee style, by PowerOfEvil on things outside of a control mage. But those are the kind of questions he's been dealing with, honestly, his whole career.
Right. Definitely has proved people wrong on more than one occasion, as Finn is trying to defend the wave down here. Spica just eating bone sauce here. I mean, Mundo, when the poke starts happening, it's a bad time. The CLG have actually built a decent lead. They're 2K up here, under 20 minutes. They've got head-in dragons. Pobelter's now split pushing on the Lucian.
I mean, they're looking good, right? You know, TSM was trying to get themselves in a good spot.
Oh.
Engage here on his SwordArt.
Free food? Nope. Ulti out there from SwordArt. Does not get made into a meal today.
Yeah, I don't mind the attempt from CLG. It's 2 ultimates for the trade of 1 there, but obviously they're hoping they could maybe get the kill. And I think because they are fairly low cooldowns on both the Varus ultimate as well as that Leona ulti, it's not really a big deal. I mean, you can actually see that the Varus ultimate is basically about halfway up. So much shorter cooldown there than that of SwordArt, and I like that they're being aggressive, playing pretty confident here. As the items are continuing to come through, it looks like it'll be Essence Reaver second for Pobelter. We already know it's the stacking tier here for Turtle. And he's on a really strong point in the game.
All right, well, Cloud Dragon definitely coming into play there for Turtle's ulti, which is cooled back down almost completely, as PoE is looking to try and get something back here in the top side and break the turret drought, although it will be pushed back by POB. SwordArt here as well to reinforce, but Lucian a little too spooky right now. As Mythic finally done for Finn, as you noted, went for Anathema's change nice and early. Had marked Huni initially. I imagine that's who he's stuck to as the Nemesis, but now it's finished at Mythic, so all of a sudden, you know, not only has that first item, which is always good to have, but now super mega gold efficiency of the Mythic.
And I think the cool part about this item is that you can kind of be using it in 2 phases, right? You buy it early to withstand the Renekton, and then as you get to later stages of the game, it's going to be about the Kaisa killing you off, so then you just swap it over to the Kaisa. And that is one of the reasons I actually really like it on a lot of top lane tanks. It answers the side lane. It answers the one main threat for the 5v5, which, let's be honest, if Mundo's on 3-4 items, Kaisa has to kill him. No one else is really going to get it done, so will be really valuable there too.
CLG making great use of this Rift Herald, though. Killed the tower now. Shelly lines up for 2. This is going to be a very clean take of these 2 towers, and indeed CLG knocked down 2 different mid lane ones, as PoE is going to finish off the top lane one. Does have his teleport if he wants to join this next fight that could occur in the next 30 seconds, as CLG will be looking for the soul point, but they have so much control of this right-hand side of the map. We had POB just kill the Scuttle Crab.
Yeah, I mean, just look at the minimap, right? There's no wards. This whole section is all CLG. The only wards that TSM really has is up here around the Baron, that top side of the map, but they're not really in a position to actually threaten the Baron right now, and generally it's pretty easy to defend that if you are playing from an advantageous spot. Double TPs committed here from CLG. They maybe could have just reset a bit earlier to be ready for this, but they want to make sure that they're here. They're very clear about wanting to fight for this soul. And no shot for TSM to just rush it down in this case. They will now have to try to get the proper setup and execute on that fight. We'll see if PowerOfEvil can maybe find an angle, because he's kind of sneaking around.
Good Scry's Bloom there for Spica, reveals the dragon. Now CLG looking to back away here, but Huni the one going in. That's a great chunk for the equalizer. Down it goes. Huni, they're already burning low as POB's gotten out of there, and Smoothie will actually finish off the kill. SwordArt gets 2, I believe, in the pulverize, but Finn now is just in the backside of the fight, and he is so hard to dislodge from your backline. Smoothie's gonna grab a double kill as SwordArt falls, and CLG deflect TSM's counterattack.
That's going to be Baron. The initial play looked like it could be great for TSM as they got on to Pobelter. They dropped the equalizer on their head, but they couldn't quite finish him off. He survives, and when he does, everything goes bad there for TSM. CLG wipe up the front line. They take the Baron. TSM will grab the Dragon, but honestly, who cares? The Gold League getting huge at this point. And TSM has been unable to find their fights around that Dragon Pit.
Yeah, just watching this one again, the angle looked good. Spica, found it. Hey, PowerOfEvil's flanking, like you said.
But it's all about the initial punch, right? They've got to get the kill when they started off. So Huni goes in, flash, stun, the equalizer comes through, but they are not able to really follow it up. You can see PowerOfEvil can actually get to the back line to get onto Pobelter. The only real assistance that Spica was able to add was the equalizer because he was actually quite far away from the initial play. SwordArt wasn't able to finish him off. Lost elected to not use the ultimate. Maybe he needed to ult in the hard commit, but he was, of course, worried about getting CC'd up and dying off had he done that. And you can just see, I mean, this is what I was talking about of when you're trying to fight through Mundo. If you try to pile through him as a 4 melee comp, he actually does a significant amount of damage here. He is going to be slapping you up. The W damage is not insignificant at this point of the game. He's got the Sunfire Burn. He's got some real threat. It cannot be ignored. You know, Mundo says you must kite back. You must run away from him. And when you're playing comp that has to hard engage and try to fight through him with serious threats that you need to get to, well, you're just kind of set up for a losing situation. And that's why CLG's draft, I think, is just working so damn well.
Yeah, looking good right now. 1:40 left on the Red Bull Baron buff here. CLG look to try and do a bit more damage. Of course, the gold standard for your first Baron is getting that inhibitor tower. Preferably an inhib if you can manage it, as CLG are looking to push down through the bottom side of the map, which opens up again so much for them as far as control of this game. They've done such a good job deflecting TSM's different engages, and now Broxah's trying to engage, finds through with a moonfall, looking so good there as Finn just dancing on top of Huni. SwordArt left out to dry, will be culled by Pobelter, and CLG just looking unstoppable at this point.
Absolutely. Broxah going in, finding the big engage there. The follow-up was in place from CLG. They couldn't even force the Mundo ulti. He's just straight chilling at this point. They're pushing in both sides. Finn in that bottom lane. PowerOfEvil trying to threaten the flank. But let's be honest, no one's scared of this at this point. 2 members from TSM are down. If you go in, it's going to be a one-way trip. I think he's just trying to be in position for once the respawns come through, hoping he can make some sort of a play, because TSM, make no doubt about it, they know this game is slipping away from them.
Yeah, I think in general, we've seen this a couple times with PoE trying to go in. If Leona is on the same screen as you, it's a bad time for Lucian at this juncture, as CLG are going to just take their reset there. They got what they wanted. Taking out inhib tower, that's more than enough damage here. Still maybe have a bit of time to reset and push through. But watch this one again. Just such a nice angle here for Broxah.
Yep, and he was spotted. TSM are backing off, but Flash, Protobelt, ER, nice combo. You can see he just closed the distance so damn fast. There was no hesitation. He didn't actually stop to clear that ward. He knew he could make that play happen. He finds it. Mundo's in on top. Varus has great follow-up from the backline. And you can see that the gold lead is expressing itself in these massive item advantages at this point. You know, Lost is still trying to piece together his Phantom Dancer, his second item. WildTurtle already has his third. The PD does come through, but it is getting so tough for TSM in these fights.
And what may become the tagline of this game in some ways, even though I think he's not necessarily, done the most to get it done, the draft is really showing its hand here. Because, how do you possibly kill Finn, let alone everyone else that does even more damage to you?
And that's why it has to be about the perfect engages, right? The coordination on these 4 melee comps. You can't play a slow team fight. When you're playing against double marksman with a strong front line, you have got to get into the back line. It's got to be about flanks from multiple angles and find those kills. But not once have we really seen the coordinated play where it's Lee Sin coming from one side, Renekton coming from another side, the flash engage from SwordArt at the same time. You need that sort of precision where everything lands at once and one of those carries gets deleted. Then all of a sudden, yeah, Mundo's still there, but he can be ganged up on and taken down afterwards. CLG have got to show that they can pull this off.
Huni, very deep TP, not really advised yet. Pobelter just going to delete you with the rest of his friends. And TSM, a desperation TP there for Huni, just goes south instantly.
Yeah, I mean, that was a double TP. PowerOfEvil arrived on the same ward, hopped over the wall there just to retreat. That was them trying to go for that sort of a play, but CLG had eyes on it. The rest of the TSM team cannot follow up on it. PowerOfEvil can escape, but Huni ends up giving over his life, and they now have no control. They have no teleports, and CLG should be able to grab this dragon for themselves and move towards Soul Point.
And again, Cloud Soul for Mundo. It's happening. Finn's going to be feeling pretty good about how this is going. I mean, good on Diana too, I think. Right, just wants to pop the ulti and chase you down, slapping you with the blade.
But Mundo, it's actually insane. Because you pop the ulti and you have so much move speed, the 10% flat plus the 30% bonus, plus you have bonus move speed with your ultimate itself. You can just straight up pop the ulti with Cloud Soul on Mundo, and you're just a Ferrari zooming after that Kaisa. Lost can't really play. Anathema's Chains is going to be on Kaisa at this point in the game, or
he's
at least it should be. And you just walk at that guy. What's he supposed to do?
Oh boy. All right, well, maybe the game won't go long enough that I'll get to see it, because it seems very funny.
Ferrari Mundo is very strong.
Especially through the cloud patches there, if TSM are trying to contest one of these objectives, because that's kind of what they have to do. You don't like the plan if you're a TSM fan, but you're going to have to make something happen here. PowerOfEvil trying to find something set up, but Smoothie instantly going to find that engage. Pobelter kick back though is nice, but can they do more? No, they can't. Moonfall pop. Pobelter will finally die at the end of the Laws. Lost dives in, but Broxah taking up what he can as TSM have actually found an angle here as Broxah is going to fall down. No, Huni found WildTurtle. Need one more carry to kill. Smoothie dead. And now Turtle going to go through and Finn. He might take a while to kill, but they're going to get him in the end as he takes down SwordArt. And Huni critically will take out WildTurtle as Finn is so tanky, but Spica barely will complete the ace for TSM.
It's a disaster for CLG. How did it happen? Finally, TSM is able to get into the backline there. It looked like it was a bit of a disjointed play, but Lost showed up. There was no focus onto him. And this is the first time it feels like in the whole game that Lost has been able to really get into the backline at the same time as his soul laners are there. PowerOfEvil looked like he had been actually caught out. Oh, you hate to see it happen. He loses the Baron buff too. This is the Rocket flip the switch replay here. PowerOfEvil trying to set up for a flank and was actually spotted out here. So CLG are moving over. Huni is very far. It looks like it's going to be a bad play, but Pobelter dashing in. Smoothie going in there, and because he actually dashed in, he gets kicked straight in on top of the equalizer, and the biggest deal is that Lost arrives, ulti into the back line, Finn is not in place, WildTurtle is not pressuring him, no one is threatening the Kaisa whatsoever, and then this is kind of what I'm talking about, where you can't fight through the Mundo, you have to fight past the Mundo, right? Finn arrives, they are not targeting him. Lost actually just runs past him, takes out one of the members, Huni is chasing off the Varus, then you come back and you say, all right, time for phase 2 of the boss fight. Take down the Mundo. And he is tough to deal with, but when it's a 3v1, when it's a 4v1, even Mundo's going to struggle.
Yeah, you'll get him in the end, which is what ended up happening there. So TSM will claim the Baron buff, their first of this game, and try and equalize the game a bit more. Now within 3,000 is significantly better than the 8,000 it was before.
And the Baron power itself, right? You get the stats from it, you get the empowered minions. So right now, they actually are very comparable as far as in-game strength. We'll see if they can make anything happen with that. CLG getting a little bit overeager, I think, in that play, and it was a great punish. You know, we needed to see those kind of kicks from PowerOfEvil. He found a good one, kicking in Pobelter onto the equalizer far. Pobelter had the stopwatch, but that was not going to keep him safe because everyone piled in. Lost was there too. And this is the kind of stuff you need to see from TSM. A calm, measured team fight will be CLG winning it 10 times out of 10. So TSM has got to create chaos. They've got to be able to find these different angles of approach. Their teleports are back, so we'll see if they can orchestrate any sort of a flanking play and make something happen here.
So curious how much damage they can do with this Baron. Again, try and get that gold closer to even here. Keep the soul out of CLG's hands. They take out one tower in the top side. SwordArt and Spica are ready to intercept anyone that might be looking to flank through their own jungle here. So Broxah and Smoothie rejoin the team. Finn still split pushing for what it's worth, but does have the TP if he needs to join. Oh, where'd he go? Must have gone back to base. There he is. Found him in the middle of the map as PowerOfEvil is going to take out the mid-outer tower. Mundo really does go where he's
Secret Agent Mundo.
He's very sneaky.
He is, yeah.
He's such a big champion. You wouldn't think.
Giant zombie man with a briefcase, get in anywhere.
Well, Finn's busy taking up the wave and PowerOfEvil's Qs, but again, shrugging off pretty much all the damage that one single champion could do. All the champions is a little bit of a taller order, but TSM unfortunately can't do too much here, and they also can't spend too much time sieging because they do need to go and kick this soul away from CLG, so with 35 seconds till the Dragon, they're going to reset for that.
Yep, Baron buff about to expire here, but plus 4K on the power play. That's a big deal. That's what they got out of it. You know, they were losing very hard prior to that one fight. So, yes, it was not like a game-ending thing. It's a game-equalizing thing. It's something that gives them another lease on life here. I still think CLG are set up for success. They are the ones on Soul Point. They are the ones with the comp that I think is going to be easier to execute on in these team fights because you have double marksman, because you have double front line. You really just play it front to back, and you try to sweep out the wards, deny vision. And right now, we can see there's nothing back here. TSM has no deep wards in this whole section, so there's no chance of getting that TP flank. And it's going to have to be the setup from the word go. You can see that PowerOfEvil trying to sneak in from the top side, and someone will have to mark him. You know, TSM is trying to thread the flank over the blue.
Yeah, Broxah going to get it. PowerOfEvil now getting himself chased, but he can't really get out. W's away to safety, but the calling out now is damaging Huni, who pops the Dominus a little late, zoning ulti there from Smoothie, kicks the rest of TSM out, and now the GA is popped there for Huni. The rest of CLG will descend. He gets out over the wall and just barely will escape in time as the Varus Q goes just short.
Broxah's looking though. He has his flash, he has his ult, and they are grouping up.
Q goes in, rock about through. Oh, that's so good! TSM, they turn it back around, and now the flank comes in for SwordArt, but PoE going golden needs to buy time as CLG is still so powerful. Finn still very, very strong, as Spica gonna have to run away. PoE trying to use that mobility to escape, but PoB's got some mobility of his own. He's gonna gun down PoE and get the kill as Huni TP's back through, equalizer out as Spica takes out Smoothie, and CLG now in a 3v4, but Spica forced to flash away. SwordArt looking to save the game, goes back in and finds a pulverize. There's the GA popped. Huni trying to take that WildTurtle, but Turtle cutting out so beautifully as Spica will finally take one down, but Turtle still alive alongside Finn, and it is just the Rumble to try and save the game.
Turtle with the hero snipe there, took down Lost through multiple members. Lost was camping the corpse there of Pobelter, trying to take down the Lucian when he came back up from the GA, but he goes down to the Varus. And damn, Finn, you are running this game over on the Mundo. I want to see the damage for that extended fight. Because I have a feeling Mundo did a lot, took a lot, and he ended the fight full health.
Well-deserved Bud Light Ace there for CLG, and you can kind of see the problem. When you can't kill both carries, problems occur.
Yeah, absolutely. TSM not really able to find the angle, not really able to find the setup, and it is just secured here by Broxah. TSM goes for the engage. The initial equalizer, though, really catches no one. CLG did a great job kiting back. They kite back, they use their front line to zone. You can see Finn and Broxah moving to threaten the back line of TSM as the rest of the team sectioned off and chases down Huni. And this is where you're thinking, all right, it's going to be a flash ult from Broxah. They're going to go straight in. It's going to be that ace. But SwordArt perfectly timed. The knock up, the stun, everything comes down. Broxah dies instantly. And now you're thinking, all right, TSM could actually turn this around. Huni goes back to base. He TP's back in.
Mundo.
And Mundo is zooming in there. Can't go over walls, unfortunately, for him. But we're back alive because CLG are on the Baron.
Yeah, that team unfortunately too long for us to watch it all there. But CLG still trying to make it happen. Huni popped the ulti already, but he's getting sectioned up by the rest of CLG. Smoothie gonna find the CC, ulti down there, and that should be a dead Renekton. Gets the stun though, PoE trying to find the follow-up as the equalizer isn't bad at all, and Huni somehow still alive. Now Turtle getting chased down by PoE, but it's a 1v3 as Lost is taking down PoB. TSM somehow have found a kill onto a carry, but the fight's still not done as Lost. Going to be completely caught out, and Guardian Angel is going to be popped, but Lost is going to be left for dead. It's Turtle still alive, Lost now to be slain as Broxah claims that kill, and it's just too hard, man. The Mundo is too tanky.
Every fight ends with Finn at full health here, man. He's getting whittled down, but he pops the ulti right back to full. They've got to dive past him, but they're just not able to do it in these tight corridors. CLG come out on top in that fight, and they've done a great job of actually sectioning off and attacking the flanking person from TSM. This time it was about Huni. They all get in onto him. PowerOfEvil had a great kick that did result in a kill on Pobelter, but it's just too little too late.
Oh,
now they found
Spica caught trying to do something as Finn's on a killing spree, picks up kill number 5.
Yeah, I think maybe he tried to get out there to clear out the wave or something with PowerOfEvil. Maybe trying to actually cut that off, but Smoothie finds him, picks him off. CLG are cruising at this point. They've got the Soul, they've got the Baron, and they are looking to deal some serious damage to the TSM base. This inhibitor is a foregone conclusion. That one is absolutely gone. You can see that Pobelter's up in that top lane trying to prep that wave. Finn looks like he's heading down towards the bot side. So they want to try to pick up multiple inhibs.
I like it from Turtle. Just get the ulti out of there. He's level 17. He's got Cloud Soul. Plenty of time for that one to come back off cooldown. As in general, I mean, CLG playing well, but the CLG bot lane's been looking good.
They've been looking really good. They've been playing a great game here. TSM has had their moments, but it hasn't really come together consistently enough for them. They're not able to all access the backline at the same time, and Finn is just becoming such a wall that they have to deal with. He's so hard to fight through to try to move past him, move past the Leona. Every time PowerOfEvil and Huni are going in, they're just getting sectioned off and focused, while the rest of the TSM team is getting often zoned by the Mundo. They can't just get past him.
All right, well, for again, a game where TSM had closed the distance by about 1,000 gold, now back up ahead 5K for CLG, and they went back and finished a death cap for Broxah, Anathema's changed for Smoothie, and Serpent's Fang finished for Turtle as well. So CLG, kind of an embarrassment of riches at this stage of the game. Oh my goodness, he's so fast. That's without the ulti through the cloud patch. The man is just strutting through the enemy jungle.
Strutting. He's got some style. You go, Mundo.
Mundo is deadly. 4.6k health. All right, that seems unreasonable.
And the ultimate at this point of the game is really just a reset on your health, unless you have some extremely good heal cut. They have the Executioners. I think that's it. So if Huni's not hitting him, he's not being healing debuffed whatsoever, and it's not even an upgraded one. It's not like the 60% debuff.
All right, TSM again have to try at SwordArt, taking a decent amount of damage with the ulti, but Finn not coming back in. Pobelter, they get kicked back by Pee-wee. That's a very nice move, but Huni can't find the rest of it there as Pobelter uses all the mobility to get away on Broxah. Now going to find two, picks up SwordArt with the back end of the ulti. Guardian Angel procced again by Huni, but he's just going to be left out for the rest of CLG. As TSM, they had to try and find something, but instead they get nothing.
They get nothing, and this may very well be the end for them. The Baron buff is still on. They have minions through bot. They are posturing to try to take this game.
Alrighty, CLG, just a couple more towers and an Nexus to go. 20 seconds for SwordArt, 35 seconds for Huni. Feels like a foregone conclusion, like many of these team fights with the Fed. Mundo has lost, is doing everything he can. Finn doesn't have the ulti. Lost can maybe crack through, but it's just so challenging. Lost, I think he's losing to the Thornmail at this point, as Finn is going to slap the Nexus, pops the ulti, gets in there, takes out Lost, and CLG will celebrate in style as they take down TSM to kick off the weekend.
That is such a big win for CLG. Not only do they take down one of the top teams in the league, they do it with a very standard draft, a very standard style here. You know, people have been looking at CLG. Their only wins lately were coming with this one hard engage comp. It felt like they had been downloaded, and they went back to the drawing board here. They come up with a very standard comp, a very powerful comp. The Mundo, the Leona were so difficult for TSM to actually fight past, and I really do think that it was a great game from the CLG bot lane. Smoothie and WildTurtle looked excellent. Smoothie was looking confident on these engages. Turtle was hitting everything, it felt like. Multiple fights, finding Lost in the backline there with those piercing arrows and just making his life a nightmare. And for TSM, it's more questions about their flexibility with draft. Can they execute on these comps at the highest level? Because this is that 4 melee style that is very popular these days. I still just think they have never really looked as comfortable with it. They had some moments here, but overall, when you're looking at all of the team fights, you know, in perpetuity, you're kind of looking back and you're saying, all right, well, which is the one where it was perfectly coordinated? It didn't really feel like it ever came together, where PowerOfEvil is coming in at the same time as Huni, you know, SwordArt's getting to the back line, Lost is diving in. It just never really happened, and that is the kind of plays that you need to make to be able to take down the kind of comp that they were going against.
Yeah, it's kind of got Mundo at the end of the day very nicely played for CLG. Now, as we go to break, check out Kobe's new show,